is a marriage community where individuals are coming in, learning and growing and getting the tools that they need to become better in their marriage and their relationship. So this platform, let me tell y'all, it is reaching the multitudes of people, not just in the state of California where we are, but around the world. And we are so grateful for the reach that it is going out in the world. So, are you ready?
You know, that's interesting that you say that because I mean, the fact that it is reaching globally like that in such a short
Yes.
period of time, we thank y'all for your support. I mean, that's a blessing, you know, that
Yes.
God's word is going forward. We take no credit for it. It's all what God is doing, and we just the willing vessels
Exactly.
to help execute it, getting it
Mm-hmm.
done. Yeah.
And also, too, for those who are going to be watching the rebroadcast, thank you
Yes. Thank
for
you.
watching the rebroadcast and subscribing and following us. Mwah! We love you already. So let's get started.
She is bubbly today, ain't she? So, as you already alluded to, the title for tonight is "What Did You Hear?" Let me get a
Yes.
Q-tip in there and wiggle it out of my ear just to make sure
Oh my goodness
I heard you
gracious.
just clearly and well. But yes, you're right. What did you hear? Did we come up with that topic? You might ask, or you might be inquiring, because a lot of times in our settings, husbands and wives.
Don't lean, baby. You're leaning.
Well, because I want to get a little closer to you so I can make sure you can hear me.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah. But in any case, there are times. Now look at that. She gonna
Mm.
lean in. There are times when we wonder if our mate is really hearing what we have to say. Not so much that they hear the words, but listening to the message behind the words.
Or either when they are saying something to us, what did we hear as the receiver
Yes.
trying to decode what it is that our spouse is saying? We might hear something totally different from what they're actually saying to
Our
us.
perception might be, I won't say off, but our perception is seeing it in one way. Because as
Right?
men and women, we all have a tendency, the way
Mm-hmm.
God is wired is we all have a tendency to perceive things differently. As a man, I perceive differently than you as a woman. Then you add that equation as Roderick, uniquely me.
Oh, yeah.
See, I heard something there, but I'm gonna talk about that one later. Uh, but yeah, there's sometimes that as Roderick, I uniquely hear
Mm-hmm.
things in the way that I am wired, and same thing for my wife.
Yeah, because I sometimes hear you say, I love you in a form that is totally different from what I would expect you to do. Meaning, you telling me that I love you by your actions, and I want to hear it
Mhm.
in what it is that you're telling me.
But even sometimes if I use it in words, my wife and her uniqueness, she could be so busy doing certain things, and sometimes she said maybe my southern, uh, um, I won't say dialect or anything because I don't think I have it anymore. But she'll say sometime because of how fast I might say my words or get into that New Orleans moment
Oh,
that she
yes.
think I was speaking in tongues when I could have said something real simple.
Yes. But let's move
Yeah, let's go
forward
ahead forward.
on this.
What I say is not what you hear.
Mm.
No.
And what you think you heard is not what I meant.
Is that so?
Yes.
Okay, let's dig deeper like we like
Mm-hmm.
to do. As we just got finished alluding to, men and women, we often speak differently, but more importantly, we hear differently. Okay. It's all about the way we perceive certain things. One thing that I had to learn for many, many years with my wife is still learning daily. Like we was to share with somebody earlier today, marriage evolves, is still evolving.
Yes, we are.
There are times when she has, whether it be verbal mostly, but even in her nonverbal, she's speaking something. And I may perceive it as one way. I have to not all take it and think what I heard or what she may be conveying, that's what she meant. I got to come back to her. Hey, babe, I heard you say this, but I just want to get clarity on it just to make sure it's not my
Mm-hmm.
own perception
Yeah.
or my ears just misheard what you said. And sometimes she think I'm just messing with her, but I say, no, I heard you, but I want to make sure I heard you
Yeah.
clearly.
So are you telling me that there is an art to us as listeners, the receivers, to make sure that what we're hearing is clarity.
Yes, because
Okay.
if not, a lot of time our actions and responses can be very different.
Okay.
And based off of what you thought you heard, it could be quite
Mhm.
interesting how you react or respond.
So basically, what we could probably go into an example
Uh-huh.
where it says here, if I say, babe, I have nothing to wear. What do you
And she says
hear?
that quite often too. With a closet full, uh,
Let's not go there.
over stuff full.
Let's stay focused here.
Yeah. She says, I have nothing to wear. What she says and what I pick up is, I don't have nothing that new in here that I would like to wear right now. That's what
So
she's saying. That's what I've learned to understand. Because I'm like, what you mean you ain't got nothing in there? All that clothes in there, you ain't got nothing to wear? She has nothing new.
so you finally got that.
It took me some
Oh,
time, but I
wow.
finally got it, especially when I started seeing all those tags and hiding up in there and brand new stuff, tucked away. Oh, that's been in my closet for a while. Really?
Okay. So as far as you, when you say something like, I have nothing to wear.
A lot of times it's going to mean that I really literally don't have anything to wear. But
So it doesn't mean you don't have anything clean to wear?
most times that probably what it means. My favorite thing is not clean. What I really want to wear is not clean.
Oh. So basically what you're telling me is you didn't take the time out to wash.
Mm.
And now you're telling me you don't have anything to wear. It's just not clean.
What I want to wear is not clean
Okay.
for me and ready for me to put on.
And that word nothing, it kind of illustrates that we all see things out of our own needs and perceptions, instead of looking at from the other person and what they may be hearing.
So going back to your example a minute ago about the closet, your need is that you want something new. You want something different that you don't have. I'm looking at it as, what are you talking about? You got a whole closet full of stuff. You mean to tell me you can't put one or two, three things together? You got 3/4 of the closet at that, and you mean to tell me there's nothing in here?
Nothing
from a
new.
man's point of view, that's the way I'm seeing it. You got copious amounts of things you can put together. You better grab something in there and coordinate it and get it together. But in her mindset, she's like, I need to have something new. I'm accustomed to, and she is, having something new ever so often. Yeah, she kind of shut down on that. Had nothing else to say.
Okay. Now there are several words that we actually use in our communication with one another. And in that communication, wives or husbands have a tendency to say things as you never, you always, I don't like it when. So we're going to break down what the other party may hear when their spouse is saying these words that we later going to understand and find out that we need to get out of our vocabulary.
Well, first, before we jump into that word never, if you really break it down and look at it, it means at any time in the past. It means or present or future, on no occasion, not ever, never attempt again. It is an absolute word. Absolute.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you telling me that if I say, babe, you never clean the kitchen.
You're telling me absolute. I never.
Even if you've done it before.
I don't ever do it. You telling me that in all the times past and all the times present or any time right now that I could be standing there with a broom in my hand ready to clean it. You saying that I've never taken the time out to clean. You saying absolute.
So that's what you hear when I say you never.
Yeah.
Oh,
absolute. You on no occasion have you taken time out to clean this kitchen. And you know what I hear?
We might need to have a session because is that why you never attempt to try to do it sometimes again?
Oh, there we go. Another absolute. That never again. You know what? You won't ever have to worry about me trying to do it again. Shut down, stonewall.
So what it is that we're actually giving you all this evening are some tools just in case you find yourself in these scenarios.
Because we know you have them. These
Oh,
are real
yes, you
time
will.
conversations. These are real time situations, and a lot of times couples have a tendency when aggravated moments, heated moments, or even in just casual moments, throw out those absolute words. Never, always.
And I don't like when.
Mm.
So when a wife says never, she is sending a code to her husband. Now, those that are in the chat room, y'all let us know if we on point. Put some fire in there if you would like to. She's sending a code that I want your love and your attention.
Mm.
That's what I'm telling you when I say never, or either I want you to do something when I say you never. You're not paying attention to that particular need.
But you know what I'm hearing? When you say that you never get that love and attention, I'm hearing that you're discrediting any time that I did do it. It's like negating all the moments previous.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what about for you as a husband?
So for me as a husband, a lot of times, I'll hear this one, babe, you never stop talking to hear me.
Mm-hmm.
You never take time out to just stay in the moment when we're talking and listen to
That's
me.
a real one.
Yeah.
That's
You're
a real
off
one.
doing this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
You're always moving.
Yeah.
And the first thoughts that come to mind is what?
For me, when I'm saying that to you and you're saying, babe, I am listening to you, I take it as you're not paying me any attention.
I'm not present in the moment.
You're not present in that moment, which is why I say you never stay still, or you need to be here so you can be present with me.
Because you want that undivided attention.
Because I want that undivided attention from you.
And that makes you feel important?
It makes me feel important. It makes me feel heard. It makes me feel as if you're, what I'm saying to you is valuable.
Oh, there it is. Value. You feel
Yeah.
valued.
Yes.
Yes.
I feel valued.
Yes.
Because you're not all over the place or walking around the house, but you're giving me that undivided attention. So that's what you hear and what I hear when we say those nevers in those scenarios, correct?
Yes. So in other words, what you would like me to do would be like how Mary came and sat at the feet of Jesus when he was talking. That's
Be
what you want.
still.
You want me to come and sit at your feet. Okay, babe, what you have to say? That's what you want.
Who wouldn't want him to just sit at your feet and hear you? Yes. But I heard when you say not now, you're not wanting to give me that attention that I need at that particular time.
Okay.
Yeah. So the other one that we were referring to is you always.
Yes. So thinking back again, with you always and you never, a lot of times the issue is not really the issue.
No.
But the issue is it's more for a cry for respect. It's more of a cry for love, affirmation. It's more for a cry of attention and assurance.
But isn't there a possibility that when one spouse is actually wanting us to get their attention, that maybe we're hearing it from the wrong ear?
Ooh, which ear is that?
Like the ear of frustration.
Okay.
The ear of irritation. Or the ear of the past hurts because of what you've done before.
I'm going to say from my point of view and from my experience, a lot of time I hear from the natural ear and not from the spiritual ear. Because there are times when I need to take myself out of the equation and hear what God is telling me to do in the moment when my wife is sharing something with me, when she's telling me something, and get out of myself.
Now we have, just to take a little bit from our audience that is here, which we love, our Marriage Evolves community, Philip had a great, can we say thank you to our co-host that is working behind the scenes right now? Could you please go ahead and put up what he said? If you tell me I never, when I know I have my mind, what does that say?
My mind responds, I never will again. It does the opposite of getting you the help or support you need. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's key.
I never will again. Shut down, stonewall.
And that's where some of us spouses find ourselves. We find ourselves in that quiet moment because our need is not being met.
Yeah.
Is that what it all boils down to?
Well, especially for men, because men, we're quick for that. You know, if you give us a you don't never the situation, you know, we're just like, okay, fine, then I won't.
So for the one always refers to all the time, on all occasions.
Another absolute.
This word is another absolute.
Yes.
So if you're telling your spouse or your mate, you always walk away from me, what do you hear?
You know, you always shrug me off when it comes to sex. What I hear.
No, what I hear.
Okay,
when you say
what
that,
do you hear? What do you hear?
All you want is my sex and my body. What about me? Is that all you want? It's just sex?
No. It's a need, but it's not all I want. I want you, the whole package.
Well, what does that look like?
You, the whole person. But your mind, your perception goes straight to all he wants is just my body parts. But I want the whole package, you. So
my hearing needs to be adjusted.
Yes. Your perception.
My perception.
Yes.
Wow.
And that which we'll learn, and we'll touch on it a little bit here in a minute, that is our own individual self. Things that we perceive and the way we perceive has to deal with a deeper issue that we can, I'm going to say can, that we need to bring to the Father, bring to God, and allow God to help us with. But we'll dig into that a little bit more in a few minutes.
Yes, because we could be like we spoke about earlier, we could be functioning from the wrong capacity.
Yes.
We could be hearing from that past hurt or that pain, like I said, that frustration. And so this is very important when first of all, the husband and the wife has their level of communication that is beyond just the surface portion, and understanding what it is that they're really conveying.
Yes.
And then also too, the receiver needs to learn how to hear correctly. And so if you're not hearing things correctly, we could be in two different lanes.
Yes.
Trying to go in the same direction, which will cause a collision at times.
That's it.
Because we're not going down the same road. So the other one for the woman, we had touched on it earlier, was you always walk away. And I will honestly say this is because we're coaches does not exempt us from any of this, because we're still evolving, as we said earlier.
We just dealt with this last night.
Yes, we sure did dealt with this last night. So this is a real issue, because I was trying to talk to my husband and he actually just walked away. And so I asked him, I said, when you walked away, what did you hear?
So what I had to pause that because I was thinking about the moment.
Okay.
But what I heard was, you don't want to talk to me. You don't want to hear what I have to say. And that was not the case. Now, mind you, we were in our bedroom and I just took a step into the bathroom, which is an open area where she could still see and hear me just clearly. I can still hear and see her very clearly. And sometimes I'll just let her know, I'm just stepping right here, but I can still hear you. Keep on talking. And she'd be like, why are you walking away? I'm like, I'm right here. I just told you I'm just going to step over here because I need to do something real quick while you're talking, but I'm listening to you. I'm engaged with you. I'm right there with you. But because I'm not locked in with eyes, I'm not right there at her feet, waiting, hearing every little bit of word, Sometimes my wife feels disrespected and feels that I
Yeah.
am not in tune with what she's saying, or I don't want to hear what she has to say. And that's something I have had to constantly work on. I
Mm-hmm.
think I've gotten a little bit better in that area, right?
Yes, you have.
Okay. But there's still, as always, areas for more improvement. And one of the things I had to learn, and I still am learning to do,
Mm-hmm.
is in that moment, especially if it's something very pertinent to her, even if it's not, but even especially if it's something that's very pertinent to her, I take the time out to not do anything, keep any
To
distractions
be
away from
still.
me, and just be still in the moment. Now, there were times I had to share with her because she would
You
go
making your
into it.
own self laugh before you even
Because
say
she
it.
would go into it, and that moment became a couple of hours. I'm like, "Babe, can the brother go to the bathroom? Can the brother go get a cup of water? You know, it's been some time now I've been standing here at your feet listening." So you got to have a
Yeah.
little bit of working in that situation.
Yes. So there has to be some balance in
Yes,
this as we are working through the
so
process.
realistic balance.
Yes, it is. So the last one that we're actually going to tap into is I don't like it when. There's so many variables that's in just that one little statement. I
Yeah,
don't like it when. Simply because when a spouse begins to just start off, I don't like,
we see it automatically
we already have our
as a
defenses
negative.
up.
Yes, as a man, I see this criticism, or here she goes again, or it could be rejection. You know, she doesn't like what I've done, like what I've said. What did I do wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I don't know how many of y'all out there feel that way, because I know that's something I
Yeah.
always used to feel with my wife, especially in our early years. What did I do wrong now? What is the problem now? Oh Lord, what did I then forget to do? You know, there was always one of those things, you know, that oh, well, there it is. I just used the absolute. It was always one of those things. It was a situation where I had that preconceived perception in my mind because
Mm-hmm.
of what happened in
Previous.
numerous times
Yep.
before, and that was my go-to mental spot.
Your
That
mechanism.
the mechanism. Once
Mm-hmm.
she said those trigger words, I'm like, oh, here we go.
But could it have been for some men too that that could be a way that they're saying, okay, maybe she has something to share with me of some adjustments that I need to make instead of looking at it in a negative?
And that was the case. Once I learned to sit at her feet and listen to what she had to say, come out of myself, then I was able to not only hear what she had to say, but regurgitate back to her. If I heard you clearly and heard you correctly, this is
Mm-hmm.
what you said. Then I was able to share with her my feelings and my perception on
Mm,
things.
okay.
Because a lot of times, um, what she had to tell me, she could have been way off on it. And so I had to say, well, babe, or she could have been spot on, but her delivery wasn't
Mm,
welcoming to
wow.
me. And so I had to tell her, babe, I really hear what you're saying and I really value what you're saying. But in the future, could you start this conversation off in a different way? Can you
Instead of
present this
saying,
in another way? Because right when you come at me and you say these things, you already, got me shut down. And notice I said when you come at me, because that's the way I felt. That was my perception. When she said those words, I don't like it when. First thing I'm thinking of, you sounded like my mother. You ain't my mother. We ain't going there.
hmm, okay. So, from a woman's perspective, I can give mine as to when I hear you say, I don't like it when. You're telling me from my hearing, I'm not enough.
Mm.
Now, this was some years ago, y'all. So let's kind of come up to date. This is not where I still am now. We got to
I
put that
hope not.
caveat out there.
Yeah.
I don't meet his expectations. I can never be enough.
Mm.
There are some women, when they hear this, they automatically internalize this as if something that we're doing is not enough for our men.
Yes. Or feeling like you can never be his mother. You can never meet her, the level of expectations she established, or whatever case. Because some may deal with that. Feel like when you say that I'm not good enough. It's like I can't, like, say for instance cooking. I can't never get it like your mama fixed it, or whatever the case may
And
be.
I'm not
Situation.
going to either. because my name is Roshan Broussard. Okay, go ahead.
You just had to put that in there, huh? Okay.
Yes. So we were talking a little bit about where are you hearing from? And I mentioned already, are you hearing through frustration? Are you hearing through hurt emotions or irritability? Through your analytical ear? Because some of us are very analytical about everything.
Yes.
And so we have to dissect and compute what is being said, even when they're talking about, I don't like it when, or you never, or you always, whichever one it may be.
Mhm. And then there's others who have that critical or judgmental ear.
Yes.
Based on maybe some upbringing or past situations, past relationships, and they have not adjusted to how they need to engage in communication.
Mhm.
Their past situations comes back in that same form. The ear is not hearing what is really being conveyed, is already hearing criticism. It's already hearing judgmentalness. It's already formulating, a defense. It's already formulating the counterattack.
Always on the defense. That fight or flight mode, correct?
There ain't no flight. It's a whole lot of fight.
It's just a lot of fight. The way you hear this is the interesting, as we were actually going through and doing some studying, this one just, did something for me. Mm-hmm. The way you hear from your spouse can be your own internal conflicts.
Yes. That's what we were saying earlier.
We are projecting our internal conflicts in our reactions toward our spouse.
Yes.
That one is interesting because we are either in that defensive mode, mm-hmm. or either we're in that mode of internalizing and going back into that default of that childhood.
Yes.
Or young adulthood, or wherever something left
that last
you.
Trauma.
That last trauma.
Mm-hmm.
It could be an internal conflict that you're projecting on him or her.
And until you receive healing in that area for that particular area, unfortunately, that's going to be a stumbling block. And as I alluded to earlier, only God can fix that for you. Your spouse can't fix that. They can help you through the process by praying for you, by adjusting their communication, mm-hmm. Adjusting their listening, their, a perception of certain things. But the healing process comes from God first.
Yes.
Helping you in your mindset, helping you in your heart, and then your spouse and their way they make adjustments in helping you and assisting you in that process.
But isn't there a scripture that says, be quick to hear and slow to speak?
Yes, there is.
So even in our hearing, we have to be quick to understand what we're hearing so we can receive it the right way.
I gotta
correct.
I gotta get that scripture for the. Go ahead. I'm still listening to it, but I gotta get that scripture.
Yeah, well, I was actually getting ready to roll over into the resolutions because we've pointed out so much of what you need to identify if you find yourself in these scenarios, because we all will find ourselves in these scenarios. Mm-hmm. And when you do, take a moment. This is your resolution now. Because you always have to have a resolution to every situation and issue that arises in your relationship. Bing, bing, key. Okay.
Can I go ahead and give you that scripture now? Because I know some of the people might be waiting on that.
Okay,
yes. That's James 1:19.
James 1:19.
Yes, James 1:19. And it says, very good. I just had it. No, my goodness. I should have just used my electronic device.
Yes, well, while you're getting that, I'm going to go ahead and give them one resolution.
All right, go ahead.
Is that okay?
Go ahead.
All right. So the first one is take a moment to question before you be so quick to assume or roll into your own thought process. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is you can use the term that we always use. So what I'm hearing you say is, so they can repeat it back to you. So I'm not hearing you say that you don't want to be around me or you don't want to hear me at the moment. What you're saying is, give me a moment to take care of what it is that I need to take care of, and then we can have the conversation.
Okay, I'm ready.
You ready?
Yes, James 1:19.
Okay.
My dear brothers, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Let me read it one more time. James 1:19. My dear brothers, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry.
But a lot of times we're quick to speak
Mhm.
and slow to listen
Yes.
with these things right here.
Check out this footnote. When we talk too much and listen too little, we communicate to others that we think our ideas are much more important than theirs.
Wow.
James wisely advises us to reverse this process. Put a mental stopwatch on your conversations and keep track of how much you talk and how much you listen. When people talk with you, do they feel their viewpoints and ideas have value? And you brought that up earlier
Yes,
about
I
that
did.
value. Yes, yes.
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, what we're saying to everyone is take the time to hear correctly.
Yes.
Don't assume your spouse is saying something or think that you know what they're saying without asking the question. So, what I'm hearing you say
Mm-hmm.
is this what you're saying? To get the clarity that is needed. So, when you walk away, two things. You understand what the spouse is saying, your spouse is saying, and you will not use these words again, which is the next resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Remove you always, you never out of your vocabulary
Yes.
because it will bring forth great frustration,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes even arguments
Yes.
about the smallest things because we're saying an absolute word of you always and you never.
Mm-hmm. Double down on your listening. If for some of you, that's probably the one best thing we said all day. Double down on your
Yeah.
listening. Listen more. James 1:19. Listen more than you speak.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, my family and friends and our great community, we are at that end time. If you
Wow, that time
enjoyed
goes
this
by too
session,
fast.
please let us know in the comments how we were able to help you on tonight. If there was anything that really stood out to you, let us know. And then also, too, if you're watching the rebroadcast, thank you again
Yes.
so much for watching. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And as we always say, because we are a team up in here,
We
okay?
appreciate your support. We
Yes.
appreciate all your love and your time and energy that you put in supporting Marriage Evolves and with the work that God is mandating us to do.
And trust me when I say, you take all, or what we say, you take all of the tools that you are given and you work them every single
Apply
day
them.
and begin to plant that seed every single day and water it, you will see a
Yes.
great harvest in your relationship. But you got to put the work in it.
That's right.
And put the water in there and plant it in the right soil. All right. So, as we always say in the end, we are
Two hearts, one team with one purpose.